Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Andy the Mad Tatter back with part 2 of May's sales roundup. Only the 4 days later than I anticipated. So getting better on this whole trying to do things to a time frame where YouTube's concerned. So we're going to get straight into the items. If you've not seen part 1 of May's sales roundup, I'll put a link in the description down below. Still trying to work out where the camera is on this phone, but I will put a link in the description. For part 1 of May's sales roundup. When we get to the end of this video, you'll get the totals for the month and also my eBay promote your listings performance. I'll show you that as well at the end. So we'll get straight into the items. First one, 16th of May, this was my birthday. 16th of May, Santoro Gorgeous Doll of Ruby. I've mentioned in previous videos that my wife Jo's very into this brand and this sort of this whole range, this gorgeous range of kind of gothic, emo-y type, cartoony people. So she's a great sort of consultant for anything that I think of to buy, if I ever look at anything and think of buying it in this range. But she's also got quite a lot of stuff that she just kind of likes to rotate every now and again. And gets rid of a few bits and pieces. So this was one of those pieces. This was a how tall was she? 14-inch cloth doll, really nicely rendered, really nicely detailed. Great quality of finish on it as well. And it was apparently one of the earlier dolls that they released in this type of range. They have subsequently gone on and done more of a PVC sort of Funko type dolls, but they're not nearly as expensive or as desirable among collectors, I am told. So this one had a zero cost against it because we owned it. It was sold for $79.99 with $3.95 post, so a total of $83.94. After shipping and fees, we received $67.40, and that went to Spain on eBay's global shipping program GSP, and we've also had positive feedback from the buyer. It got there really quickly on GSP as well, this one. I think it's one of the first parcels I've actually sent to Spain. I send a lot to Germany, quite a few to Italy, loads to France. I've not done too many to Spain, but it did get there quite quickly, just as another note on that one. So again, sticking with the 16th of May, Aurora Snoopy 7.5-inch plush. This was a brand new and tagged item, picked up from one of my local charity shops. I think it was one of quite an early thing that I bought, because I've not bought a lot of plushies, certainly in the last few months. So I think this was kind of relatively early on in the reselling adventure that I picked this one up. But again, iconic character, famous character, popular character, so Snoopy. Didn't think I could go too wrong on it. I've sat on it for quite a while, but for a £1.29 cost, it wasn't too painful to sit on. It sold for $12.94, which was $8.99 plus $3.95 shipping. And after shipping and fees, we made $5.45 on that one. Still on the 16th, vintage Minolta Disc 7 camera from 1987. This was a really nice, complete example. Again, found in a local charity shop. I did pay up a little bit more than I wanted to on it, to be honest, but I just wanted to try it because I thought it was a quirky little thing. It was all complete, so it had its box there. It had its original warranty card, which was completed in 1987. It was dated and everything, so that's how I knew that was what year it was supplied. Much like a Polaroid, these run and are powered by the film. So you do need a film to test them with, and you can't get these Disc 7 films for love nor money. They are incredibly hard to get hold of. I don't think they're too expensive if you do find them, but it is very much the definition of an obsolete format. There's nobody making it new that I'm aware of, so I was completely unable to test this camera. In the description, I obviously declared that I was unable to test the camera. It was being sold as untested, but I saw no reason why it shouldn't work. This is a description I quite often use on things that I can't test for whatever reason, but I've had a really, really good look at internally, externally. I've looked at everything that I can physically look at without just completely stripping the item into components and putting it back together. And if anything, if for instance, I opened this camera up and saw a little bit of corrosion on a battery terminal, I would declare that in an untested item and say, look, it's not tested, I can't test it, there is this bit of corrosion on the battery terminal, I'm not sure if that would affect operation or not. With something like this, it was completely free of any sort of damage or any signs of any use, so I was quite happy to sort of stick my neck out a little bit and say, I'm confident that this item will work. Sold for cost $8.99, sold for a total of $28.94, which was $24.99 and $3.95 shipping and fees. Total we made on that one after shipping and fees was £11.99, and as I say, yeah, paid up a little bit too much on that one really, and I think it's probably gone to a camera collector because the chances of somebody buying that to use are very slim to none. Interesting little note on this one though, it does have, and it's the earliest camera I've ever seen that's got this sort of feature on, it has a convex mirror on the outside of the camera for taking selfies. And there's a little stand on the camera, so you can actually, you know, flop the little stand out, set the camera up, and check the frame in the little selfie mirror. So who says the selfie's a new thing? Been around since 1987, certainly if this camera's anything to go by. Moving on, 17th of May, Sony PlayStation 2 GTA bundle. I'll always pick up GTA games for pretty much any format if they're cheap enough. They, as far as I can see, they do always sell. You don't always necessarily make huge sums of money on them. I think some of the Xbox 360 ones, for instance, don't do as well as like the PS2 and PS3 ones for whatever reason. But they are still worth picking up if you're paying, you know, small amounts for them. And bundling up like this is also a great idea because you can often ask a little bit of a premium for the fact that you've got all of the games or you've got a series of games together. Some people look at it from the point of view of if you're buying multiples, you should get a discount. But actually, I look at it the other way. If you're buying multiples of an item or you're buying a collection of items, somebody's already done the work of sorting those items out for you and putting them all together in the first place. So ask a bit more. If you're bundling stuff up like that, ask a little bit more. Don't, you know, take the mick and go crazy, but you absolutely be confident in it and ask a little bit more there. These are all what they call black band PlayStation 2 games as well, which means they're the original release. They're not a re-release for an anniversary or like a... they quite often do bestseller type re-releases where the top of the box here, rather than having the black band, is silver. And they're sort of like greatest hits type re-releases of the game. They do still sell, certainly, but they don't sell as highly as the original releases. So always, when I'm listing PlayStation 2 games like this, I'll always detail that they are black label. In the description, just so people know that they're getting the original. And the great thing with this particular bundle as well is all the discs were immaculate and all of the inserts were there. So each game has a map or a little guidebook, things like that with it. As well as the normal game manual. So everything was there with these games. They were a great sort of little bundle together. They cost me a Harry Potter, which is £1 each, for those of you that don't know. So the 3 games cost £3 in total. Sold for £20.49, which was $16.99 plus $3.95 shipping and fees. For a little bit of perspective there, I think the games individually was sold for between £4 and £5 each. So I've done it $16.99 for the 3 together. So I've added that extra couple of quid on just for the fact that it's there as a whole, as a complete bundle. Had positive feedback on the buyer on that one, from the buyer on that one as well, and we made $10.62 after shipping and fees. Next one, 20th of May. So we did have a couple of days there without sales. Another Heartbeat DVD. If you saw part 1, you'll know that I got a big old bundle of DVDs for very, very little, and these Heartbeat DVDs are selling really, really well. This was season 8. I think this actually might be the last Heartbeat one that I've got now. I've got a load of Midsummer Murders that are up there and listed and getting quite a lot of interest. And I've just this last day picked up another large bundle of stuff that's got a few DVD box sets in there as well. I think I've almost got a complete series of Smallville and stuff like that, so those will certainly be going up as big bundles. But that's an aside. Yeah, this one cost 50p. Again, came out of a big bundle of DVDs. Sold for $14.99, gave free postage, made $9.82 after shipping and fees, and had positive feedback from the buyer. Next one, still on the... I've gone from the 7th to the... What's gone on there? Okay, so yeah, I think I've just moved that slide into the wrong place. So this is still the 17th. We're just taking a little step back in time. Well, it's all a step back in time, isn't it? Because I'm late with this video. But anyway, 17th of May, again, another remote control. As you know, I like selling remotes. They are easy to test, easy to list, and easy to ship. So there's nothing to really dislike about them. Sometimes, yeah, they do sit a little bit longer than certain things because people are only ever going to buy them when they need them, and they'll generally only need them if they lose a remote, damage a remote, dog eats the remote, kids bury it, or whatever. So yeah, they're not always flying off the shelves remotes, but when they do sell, you make decent money on them, and they're quite easy to just deal with. They don't take a huge amount of packaging or anything like that. This one was a Virgin Media set-top box remote. It's a slightly older one. The current generation Virgin Media box has a totally different remote to this one. This might actually be a couple of generations old now if I think about it, because I can definitely remember having this one in the house. Probably about 8 or 9 years ago, so it is an older unit, but nevertheless cost me 50p. Sold for £8.94, which was £4.99 plus £3.95, and made £2.99 after shipping and fees. So not a huge profit, not something I'm set to retire off, but did get positive feedback off the buyer and £3 off him as well. So you know, happy days. Next, 18th of May. Yeah, I've definitely moved that Heartbeat DVD well out of the way there, guys, but that's the nature of me just doing these videos in one take. I'm not going to stop it and go back and look at it and change it and redo the video. Let's just crack on. 18th of May, Olympus Pearl Recorder S701 dictaphone. I think I've said in previous videos about dictaphones and voice recorders being really popular and selling well. Analog types of technology, certainly where recording data and storing data is concerned, they are quite popular these days. I think everybody is very mindful of their data, certainly in professions like the medical profession and things like that, where they're recording people's notes, patients' notes. That's just one example, of course, but they don't want to be using technology or equipment that's susceptible to being hacked or accessed externally or anything like that. So the analog technologies like good old-fashioned tape recorders, typewriters, things like that, they do still have a market and they do still have a demand, and it's not just the kind of hipster market where they want the old stuff because for its own sake. There are people out there that still genuinely want this stuff for you know, a genuine technical reason. This particular Olympus, I've sold a number of these S701 dictaphones and they always sell quite quickly. This one sold within a couple of days of being listed. Had it been in better condition, I could have got about 40 quid for this dictaphone. And other colours of this dictaphone other colours of this dictaphone in similar conditions were selling for a lot less. They were in the sort of 10 quid region. So there were quite a lot of scuffs and scratches on this one, but as always, honest about it in the listing. It was tested and working, everything functioned perfectly on it. There was just a lot of cosmetic marks on there. But this metallic blue Olympus S701 dictaphone, if you ever see this and it's cheap enough, pick it up. This colour, for whatever reason, commands a premium. As I say, in good condition, that would have been a 40 quid dictaphone, and that's just literally for what you see on the screen there, the dictaphone with no cassette, no packaging, no manual, nothing. Just as it is, I could have got nearer to 40 quid for that. Had it been in good condition. So definitely look out for the Olympus Pearl Recorders, but specifically look out for the metallic blue one. This one cost me £1, sold for £23.94, which was £19.99 plus £3.95. Generally, I sell most dictaphones, sort of standard ones like the Sanyos and stuff like that, and these Pearl Recorders, they generally go for about 25 quid. So this was a little bit cheaper than my usual dictaphones, but like I say, for the condition that it was in, it would have been a lot less still had it been a different colour. So yeah, sold for £19.99 plus £3.95 post and made £15.06 after shipping on fees, and a nice quick sale as well. Next item, Sony PlayStation 2 bundle. This is another one that I'd had for a little while, but I was being quite cheeky with the price on it. I was pushing for... I quite often like to sort of push the market a little bit. If I've got something that I think is better than anything that anybody else is offering at the time, I'll always just try and jump up there and be confident with a higher price and just sort of see if I can push it and maybe drive the market slightly. That's probably quite presumptuous and arrogant, and I don't assume to be able to do that, but it's just one of those things that I think, you know, why not try? So this was a Sony PlayStation 2, standard PlayStation 2, not the Slim. It was in excellent condition. It still had the warranty seal on it, so it's never been opened. It's in full working order. There were a couple of light scratches on it, but nothing significant. Had a good bundle of games with it as well, a lot of racing games, and I also managed to pick up a Logitech Gran Turismo 3 wheel as well, which is all fully working with the pedal set and everything there as well. So what we've got in this bundle, you've got the PlayStation 2 with the stand, you've got two authentic 8MB memory cards. Remember when megabytes were a thing and not gigabytes. A single DualShock controller. It did come with two when I picked it up, but one of them was goosed, so that just got thrown. that one, the one that you see on the picture there, worked absolutely fine, so I just bundled it with the one controller. The wheel and pedal set was a pickup from a local charity shop, and it only cost me £3, which I was well impressed with because it was boxed and everything as well, so it had all its original packaging with the wheel and pedal set. Which made it a lot easier to ship because all I needed to do was find a big box that I could drop that in, and then it was a case of slotting the PlayStation and the games and stuff around that, and obviously wrapping them and packing them accordingly. I did get good feedback, positive feedback from the buyer, and again did specifically mention my packaging on that one, so it all arrived safe and sound, no more dramas in that respect. And they did say it was well packaged, the kids are dead happy with it and stuff like that. Also with this one, I did throw in a copy of The Simpsons Hit and Run, or Road Rage, one or the other, I forget which one, but it's one of those kind of really popular racing games. It was scratched to ribbons and it needed completely refinishing on a disc cleaning machine. I don't have one of those, so I just wrote in the listing, you can have this free of charge, get it refinished. If it works for you, it's a happy bonus. If it doesn't work for you, just chuck it in the bin, and you know, although if it works for you, you've got an iconic game basically that's worth. I think it's worth reasonable money as well. The Simpsons Hit and Run or Road Rage, whichever one it was. It is a game that's worth reasonable money, which is why I picked it up in the first place. But the fact that it was so scratched, I just couldn't be. I just didn't have anything to solve that problem. So just to get rid, I threw it in with this bundle. Never heard anything about whether that game works or not, but you've got Gran Turismo 4 in there, Gran Turismo 3 in there, I think a GTA game or two in there as well. So it was all very sort of driving focused games, and hence why the wheel and pedal set went in there. Did have this one up at $114.99. The buyer got in touch with me and asked me if we'd accept 100 on it. I don't think I had offers on the listing itself, so the buyer sent me a message asking if we'd take 100 for it. I said yeah, absolutely. You know me, I do normally like to win on my deals and go back to people with a higher offer, but I'd been sat on this for a little while and it was taking up a reasonable amount of space as well, because the box that the steering wheel and pedal set in was itself huge, and then I was trying to store the PlayStation and stuff in such a way that nothing got damaged, and it was just taking up a lot of space. So to get it out of the way, I don't mind taking £15 hit on that one, because the buyer was still paying postage anyway at £16.95. So took an offer at £100 on that one, sold it for £116.95 in total, and made £50.27 after shipping and fees. Not a massive profit on it, but the bundle in total cost $37.06. So I picked up the PlayStation, I think at a car boot possibly. I picked up the wheel and pedals, as I say, at a charity shop, and the games have come from various charity shops, so that's why it's got sort of a bit of a random price attached to that one of $37.06, because it's the cumulative total of all of those items that I purchased. So yeah, 50.27 on that one. Next, we had positive feedback as well, I think I said that. 19th of May, M&S Peruna Padded Gilet. This came from a family member. I've asked around I've sort of put the word out around all my family members. If you're having a clear out of anything and you're thinking of just throwing it away or whatever, give me a shout first and I'll have a see if it's worth me selling and maybe give you some money for it or whatever. But so far, I've not had a huge amount of stuff come forward, and the stuff that I have had come forward has been reasonably good quality, but nobody's wanted any money for it, with it being family. So in that sense, happy days, but I'll definitely have to get them a cake or something or a drink down the line. So this one was, M&S Peruna. So Marks & Spencer's Peruna is their sort of ladies' premium label, and Peruna itself does have a premium collection on top of that as well, which is quite desirable stuff. It always sells quite well. It always gets huge numbers of views on your eBay listings. I think Peruna and Superdry seem to get masses of attention. You always get huge numbers of views on them for some reason. You don't always get huge numbers of watchers or huge numbers of sales necessarily from that, but for whatever reason, you can quite easily pick up 100 views overnight on a Peruna or Superdry product. So this was a nice water-resistant padded gilet, large size, extra large size in fact, so I think it was around about a 20, 22 from memory, ladies size. Cost nothing, sold for $26.94, which was $22.99 plus $3.95, and made £18.18 after shipping and fees there. Next, so we're on to the 20th. And I'm just thinking, are all these DVDs in this one and I've not mentioned it to you before? Yeah, I don't actually think I have mentioned these DVDs that I said previously I had mentioned. So I've been picking up loads of stuff lately, which is another reason why I've not been doing a lot of YouTube, or been as prolific on YouTube as I would have liked. I've been buying stock like a crazy man because I've had a lot of opportunities to do so. And because things have gone a little bit better in the latter half of May than they did in the first half of May, there has been a bit more money there to be able to do that with. So this was a large bundle of DVDs that I picked up from a car boot, and I'm talking sort of 2 black bin bags full of DVDs. I got to a lady's stall there. She looked pretty frustrated with everything that was going on at this car boot. She looked quite out of place, in all honesty, at a car boot. I think she maybe hadn't done one before, or just didn't like the atmosphere of people accosting her and asking prices or whatever. She was very sort of out of sorts with this car boot, and she was packing up, and she had all these British TV series DVDs in bags and boxes and stuff, and I was just looking through them, and I said to her, how much are your DVDs? And meaning, you know, just give me a rough estimate of what, you know, are they £1 each? Are they, you know? And she said, with a sort of frustrated, in a really sort of frustrated way, oh, just give us a tenner for the lot, and you can take them. And I hesitated for a second, and then I thought, well, no, she's obviously, you know, wants rid and wants to go home. So I took them, and I took 2 black bin bags full of DVDs. In those bin bags full of DVDs, there were a series of Midsummer Murders, there were a series of Heartbeat, there was a series of, what else was there, Poldark, there was some old other period dramas and stuff as well. It was all BBC and ITV series. And so I've kind of costed everything out accordingly, and some of them you'll see in future videos, they're going to have a 0 cost against them because I wrote £3 of it off straight away against this box set. This box set was the first 7 series of Heartbeat. Now, Heartbeat, for those of you that aren't aware, I'll just gloss over it really quickly. It was a series that was set throughout the 1960s following a small Yorkshire village and the town that village was part of. It was as famous for its music as it was its sort of the careers of other actors that it launched and things. It features a lot of famous 60s and 70s music. The 70s stuff's a bit anachronistic, but there's a lot of 60s music and stuff in there as well. So it's very popular for that reason. It's also just popular because it was kind of a Sunday night staple for a lot of people. Certainly my generation, those that are in their 30s and stuff now, probably all remember at some point watching Heartbeat growing up on a Sunday night. This was the first 7 series, which are probably the more popular series, with Nick Berry as the lead role in them. So this is all the collection, which has Nick Berry in it. This worked out to have cost me £3, and I could not believe the price it sold for. It sold for $49.99, which was $44.99 and £5 shipping. It turns out that it's really, 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 really popular, and really, 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 really sells quick. So the first one that you saw erroneously there that should have been after this one, that was another series of Heartbeat, just a single series on its own, sold for $14.99. This one sold for £50. So if you ever see Heartbeat DVDs out there, guys, as long as they're complete and it's a full series or whatever, you can't really lose. Whether it's this big box set, I would definitely advise keeping an eye out for this big box set. I can't show you on camera. I always sort of gesture with my hands, but you don't know how big my hands are, so that's largely irrelevant. But it's 7 DVDs, and they're kind of a double thickness DVD box. So rather than the usual sort of slim DVD box, like a double thickness, 7 of them in a big case. So you can imagine the sort of size that is. If you see that for anything, I would probably quite happily buy that for up to a tenner at a charity shop or car boot or whatever. Because if I'm selling it for £50 every time, happy days. It's dead easy to sell as well. There's not really, you know, there's not loads of technical information to have to put in your listing, not loads of photographs to take. Interestingly as well, I did actually drop this box set and cracked one of the boxes just on the spine. Didn't cause any effect to anything internally or anything like that. Didn't affect any of the discs. Didn't affect how the discs sat in the box or anything. It just put a little crack in the outside sleeve, and still sold it for £45. And I declared the crack in the sleeve as well. So yeah, made $36.29 on that one after shipping and fees. Definitely keep a lookout for Heartbeat DVDs. 20th of May again. This is a Samsung Galaxy camera. This is actually our own old camera. My wife Jo and I, we've just upgraded our phones, and the cameras that we've got on our phones now are immense. She's just got a Samsung Galaxy, I think it's an A7 or an A9, or it's an A and a relatively recent number. We had A5s prior to that, and that's got an amazing camera. I've got a Huawei or Huawei P30 Lite, and the camera on that astonishes me. I'm still not. It's so much better at doing things than I am, so I'm still kind of getting used to that one. So what I'm getting at is we didn't really need this digital camera anymore. As good as this digital camera is, it's a 16.3 megapixel. It connects to the internet and everything as well. It's a Wi-Fi camera, a big touchscreen display on the back there. You can go on the internet with it. You can go on Facebook with it. It's basically just like, it has a lot of the functions that your phone has or your tablet has built into the camera as well. You just obviously can't make calls or whatever. So it's a really good camera. We had an extra battery with it, we had a battery charger with it, we had the premium leather case. Generally speaking, when we buy something, we go all out and we get all the gear with it when we pick it up, because we like things to last us a good long time. The only real issue with this one was that the hand grip on the side there, being sort of a foamy material, it had yellowed slightly over the years. Again, declared that in the listing. It's quite a common thing with these cameras. You'll rarely see them pre-owned where they don't have this yellowing on them. So yeah, sold really quickly. I think about 3 or 4 days after we actually listed it. It picked up loads of watchers as well really quickly. I think we had about, I want to say we had about 9 watchers on it overnight. It was pretty a very, very popular item, this one. So we sold for $119.99 and gave free postage. Now I did post this with Royal Mail special delivery, so the postage on that was about £12, I want to say. But it meant it got there the next day for the buyer. So that got us the positive feedback. And it also meant that it was covered for the full value. With recent experiences of items going missing in the post and items arriving damaged in the post, I'm definitely now making sure that I always use the correct service. I have winged it in the past. You know, I might have had an item in the past that was worth £100 and I've sent it second class sign for, which covers it up to £40. But would I do that again now? No, I wouldn't. I'd send it via special delivery, just for the peace of mind, because Royal Mail were fantastic with how they dealt with my claim, and I would always make sure now that I definitely use the right service with the right level of compensation for the item that I'm sending, and I would definitely advise you do the same. So yeah, made $95.35 on that one. Nice little profit, just on an item that we've had that camera for probably about 5 years. It's been on so many holidays with us. It's been all over the world. It's done us proud. And it will continue to do so for the new owner, because, like I say, we've kept it really nice. So, on to the 20th of May. Oh, look, another Heartbeat DVD. Season 10 this time. Cost 50p. Sold for $14.99 with free postage, so made another $9.82 on that one. And then another Heartbeat DVD. Sold for 50p. Cost 50p. Sold for $14.99, made $9.82, and had positive feedback on that one. 21st of May. So the 20th of May, that first Heartbeat DVD that you saw erroneously, that should have been in with those others, because I do remember that they all sold close together now. Anywho, 21st of May, Levi 501s, they are coming back around again. I'm not entirely sure why they're enjoying a bit of a renaissance at the moment. I've heard some people saying that I think Justin Bieber, or Justin Bieber's other half, has got something to do with propelling Levi's back into popularity again, but I don't really follow all that world, to be honest with you. I don't really follow the world of celebrity, so I've never really bothered to go looking for that to confirm. But what I do know is that Levi's are coming back around again, and people are buying them again. I've sold a number of pairs of Levi's, both in May and at the start of June now as well, as you'll see as we're going along. I could probably do a separate video just on sort of authenticating Levi jeans, but I wouldn't do it any justice and I'd prattle on for far too long. What I would advise you to do, there are so many different tutorials and different references out there. Just go and Google spotting fake Levi's or how to spot fake Levi's, and you will find the same resources that I found, and that's how I learned. Yeah, I'd make a 3-hour video out of something that you could probably read in about 20 minutes yourself. So definitely go and look up how to spot fake Levi's, because there are a lot of them out there, certainly from the sort of mid to late 90s period when they enjoyed their last renaissance. So this was a pair of 501s, just Levi's kind of classic, iconic style that, you know, I think every generation has probably had a famous Levi 501 advert. There was the Flat Eric advert. There was the, was it Nick Kamen? I think in the 80s one in the laundrette where he got changed in there and it was heard it through the grapevine. Yeah, so there's been loads of iconic Levi's ads. There's been loads of iconic wearers of Levi's. They're a brand that just needs no introduction, so I'll stop prattling about them now and tell you what they cost. They cost me a fiver. Sold them for $43.94, which was $39.99 plus $3.95. For a little bit of perspective on how much they are enjoying a resurgence at the moment, before Christmas I was selling every pair of Levi 501s at the same price, and I was selling them all at $29.99. And that seemed to be kind of what the market was for them at that time. Now, if you look, there's a lot of people offering a lot of different grades of jeans. I don't tend to describe my jeans by letter grades like A or B or whatever. I just tend to be honest about the description of the individual pair of jeans that the buyer's looking at. You know, like with this one, for instance, I think it does pick up on the camera. There's a little bit of wear on the back pocket. Looks like somebody's always had their wallet in the same place or something along those sort of lines, and it's just created that sort of diamond-shaped patch of wear there. It didn't actually wear through the jeans or cause them to be threadbare or anything like that. It's literally just discoloration. So again, declared that and priced accordingly. I would have put them up at about 45, 50 quid otherwise, with the way the market is at the moment, because they were otherwise immaculate condition. It was just that little bit that let them down. So yeah, made $27.26 on those from a £5 purchase, $43.94 sale, $39.99 plus $3.95. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. This is the good thing about sort of being delayed with my video. I made this up a few days ago, and I kind of completely forgot the content of it. Obviously, as you can tell by the way that Heartbeat DVD was out of sequence. Yeah, I've actually done a retail arbitrage buy that I made some good money on. Again, I always introduce the term retail arbitrage just in case you are literally somebody who knows nothing about reselling or wants to get into reselling, and it's a term that you'll hear. Retail arbitrage is buying new items from retail stores and selling them for a profit. That's all it is. You'll hear it called retail arbitrage, you'll hear it called RA, but that is basically what it is in a nutshell. So, my first proper retail arbitrage win, 21st of May, Nike Air Jordan Executive High Tops. Now, I've said before, I'm close to the Cheshire Oaks designer outlet. I'm also close to a couple of other designer outlets where I live. And I felt a little bit bad about this particular purchase in a way, because we actually went out for my wife's birthday on the day that I ended up in the Nike store buying these. And basically working on my wife's birthday while I was taking her out shopping. So she was all right about it in the long run, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I was too popular on the day for spending 45 quid. However, these were really nice trainers. Sort of a maroony plum coloured suede and leather combo with the gold Jordan logo on them. Jordans sell really well. You've got to know what you're looking at with them, and I very much don't. I'm not going to lie. So I hesitate to pick up second-hand pairs of Jordans. The first pair of Jordans I ever picked up were at a car boot, and this was when I was very, very early on in my reselling. I picked up the left one, and I looked at the left-hand shoe and I thought, yeah, it's great, it's in lovely condition, there's not too much wear on the tread, I'm happy with those, and I just bought them. I think I paid about 8 to 10 quid for them off this person's store. When I actually got home then and looked at the right shoe, the previous wearer must have been a driver for a living or something like that, because there was a huge, great big patch of separation between the outer sole and the midsole, right where your foot had touched a pedal on a car. So lesson learned on that one, and that experience still kind of makes me hesitate to buy second-hand Jordans. Plus, obviously, there's a lot of fakes and stuff out there. But buying these from the Nike outlet store, I was quite happy with what they were, and with the fact that they were obviously genuine. So they cost me 45 quid, and I sold them for $134.99 with free postage. They were up at $144.99, but the buyer was in Italy, and I think he was a little bit slightly put off by the price of the eBay Global Shipping Program. Now, the eBay Global Shipping Program is not something that you're in control of as a seller, so you can set your own postage price, but that will be added on to whatever the global shipping works out at for the buyer. So it's completely out of your control. So I'm always upfront with the buyers about things like that when they raise the issue of the postage to their country. I say, look, it's kind of out of my hands, but is there anything we can do to make it better for you? In this case, we knocked a tenner off the price of the shoes, which I was quite happy with because they only cost 45 quid, and they were going to Italy on the GSP. So sold for $134.99, made $64.33 on them after shipping and fees, which is an absolute scorcher for me in terms of retail arbitrage, because I think prior to this my best profit on an RA item was about 25 quid, and I've actually lost money on retail arbitrage before as well. So to make $64.33 on these, I was absolutely chuffed to mint balls. So yeah, really happy with that one, and that's my first retail arbitrage win. Next, 21st of May, Nakajima A160 electric typewriter. I think this was in my very first haul video that I ever uploaded, or it was certainly in one of my early haul videos anyway. Cost £10, sold for $110.94, which is $94.99 plus $15.95 post. And after shipping and fees, made $65.33 profit on that one. Typewriters, as I said before, with the dictaphone, very much very popular with people who value sort of privacy of information. But also, I think, because this actually sold to a shipping company, a freight forwarding company, so I think for sort of typing up labels and customs forms and stuff like that, it's probably the preferred method. If they have like a pre-printed form that they've got to fill in, they can just type it up on the typewriter rather than having to do it on the computer, maybe, or by hand. I don't know. But yeah, it sold to a freight company anyway, this one. So yeah, made $65.33 on that one after shipping and fees. Great little typewriter, full working order, and no issues on arrival either. So happy days with that one. Next, Liberty Blue Ironstone platters. Early on, just when I was buying a bit of everything and not really considering what I was purchasing, I just bought certain things to give them a crack and see what happened. These were a pair of Liberty Blue pattern, so it's a Staffordshire style with the blue and white transfer print on them. These were big sort of 12-inch platters, so they were 12 by 9.5 inch, so quite big plates. And they depicted the governor's house in Williamsburg, which I think is Massachusetts, if I remember rightly. One of them did have a little bit of a chip out of it, but it had been glazed over and the pattern was in the glaze, so I think it was a factory fault. And I actually put that in the description as well. Sat on these for quite a while, in fairness. They're not something that I would ever entertain picking up again. Certainly not with how much shipping and packaging I had to do on them. That I was so paranoid with the other breakages and stuff and the things that I've had this month. I was so paranoid about these not getting there. So I think about I want to say about 15 to 20 foot of bubble wrap went into this package, and it was actually packaged in a polystyrene box as well, which was kind of I think it's something that medicines were transported in previously. So it was kind of a big, like an insulated box, really. So yeah, it cost me a fortune in shipping because it went over 2 kilos. So I had to send it with parcel force in the end. So it's just not something that I'd ever entertain doing again. But happily didn't lose any money. So they cost me $5.98 in total. Sold them for $26.94, which was $19.99 plus $6.95 postage from the buyer. As it happens, it ended up costing me $13.95 to post them because, as I say, I sent them with parcel force with it being over the 2 kilos. And after shipping and fees, made £3.30. So didn't lose anything and got those out of the way. So I'm happy with that as an outcome there. 22nd of May, Levi's again. This is the 511 pattern, and these were a lighter weight denim than the 501s or than some of the other Levi's that I've sold before. They were a mustard yellow with a zip fly. They had a bit of wear on the ankle cuffs, just down at the bottom by the heel, where they'd obviously been sort of catching on the ground a little bit, scuffing on the ground, so a bit of the colour had faded out of them there, and that is in one of the pictures close up. Again, declared in the listing as well. So these weren't a massively valuable pair of jeans. However, they would have done a lot better had the condition been better. But I only paid £3 for them. Sold them for £38.94, which was £34.99 plus £3.95 shipping. And after shipping and fees, made £25.75 on those. I think in good condition, they were probably going for about sort of 50 to 55 quid, that particular style and colour. So 35 quid for a pair that's got a bit of wear on them. Yeah, I was fairly happy with that. Next, okay, vintage. So yeah, it's not really vintage, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a first generation digital camera, so it probably dates from around about, you know, late 90s, early 2000s, something like that. But in the scheme of digital cameras, I would class it as vintage. Vintage is a word that is massively overused on eBay, and I'm guilty of doing it as well, as you can see from this listing here. Vintage, retro, all of those sort of words, they are massively overused. I really try my hardest to only ever use them on items that are genuinely vintage or are genuinely retro. And I think my reasoning at the time when I listed this was, as I've just said to you there now, it's vintage in terms of digital cameras. It's like one of the earliest ones that I've certainly handled. So it was a Genoptic digital camera, JD 1300F. Genoptic were historically part of Zeiss, I think, from what I remember in research. I didn't put this in the listing because I don't think I could verify it. But from what I read, they were part of Zeiss, who are a very famous German-Swiss manufacturer of lenses and camera equipment. If you look at your Sony cameras and things like that, you'll often see they've got a Zeiss Tesla lens on them, and a lot of high-end lenses for cameras and stuff, and even glasses and stuff like that, and other optical equipment, Zeiss lenses all over the place. Genoptic, I think, were either part of them or part of Leica, which are a famous camera brand. It was somebody along those lines anyway. I can't remember off the top of my head now. I did advertise this as being ideal for young people or older people who value the simplicity of a camera, because it was literally just point and shoot. There were no fancy features, no fancy filters. I don't even think it had a zoom, to be honest with you. I think it was just literally, here is a camera, take some pictures with it, stick a memory card in it, and away you go. Cost me $1.99, sold for $24.99 plus $3.95, so a total of $28.94, and made $18.54 after shipping and fees. Had positive feedback from the buyer on that one as well. It took the old style memory card, which is like the floppy SD. Is it SD? No, not micro SD. That's a newish one. Yeah, an early SD cards anyway. They were about an inch or so tall, and just kind of floppy consistency to them. I forget what series that was, but it took them anyway. The buyer, it turns out, has sourced one for it, so he said it works perfectly as described, and with a memory card as well, because I didn't supply one with it. So he was happy with that, and I made $18.54. Next, Panasonic Freeview HD recorder. I said in one of the more recent videos, I think it might have been the part one of May Sales Roundup, that I've been buying a lot of stuff lately, and I've bought so much stuff that I've just not had chance to list it, or not had chance to kind of put it in haul videos even, or anything like that. And I think this is one such item, to be honest with you. I think this came from charity shop, from memory. It's a Panasonic Freeview HD recorder with the remote. And it's a fairly recent-ish model as well. It's a DMR-HWT150EB, if you're looking for it yourself. It's got a 500GB hard drive. It's got the remote. It's got HDMI. It's just an all-singing, all-dancing Freeview box that you can connect. That connects to the internet. You can download apps to it and stuff like that as well. So it's a good little box, all told. I did price it quite high at $139.99. There were boxed ones with all the paperwork and everything selling for $139.99, but I thought, you know what, I'll just try it and people can send me offers if they fancy. This guy offered initially, I think this guy offered initially 100 quid, and I went back to him with the random 111, and he took it. So yeah, sold on a best offer. I won and made $85.04 on it after shipping and fees. Did offer free postage on that one, and since putting this PowerPoint thing together for the video, we have actually had positive feedback on that one as well from the buyer. He's very happy with his purchase, so good stuff there too. Next, yeah, another early buy and another absolute clanger from me with hindsight. Disney Read to Me book and CDs. So these are, as the name suggests, a CD with a storybook in them, and they sort of follow the plot of the major Disney and Pixar films. They are genuine things. They're not like a knockoff or anything like that. I think these came as part of a weekly magazine or a subscription or something like that in the UK. Don't really know off the top of my head. Have absolutely no idea why I ended up paying £11.62 for them. When I did, it just beggars belief when I look back at it now that I spent that on those. Nowadays, well, I probably wouldn't even pick something like that up now unless somebody was selling the whole bundle for like a couple of quid. So, perspective on how times change and how your way of thinking changes as you sort of evolve with reselling. When you first start out, it's very tempting to just go out and buy everything that you can. And in some respects, that's not such a bad thing within reason. But as time evolves, you kind of get a little bit more nuanced with it and a little bit more, what to and what not to go for without even thinking about it, really. It becomes much more second nature to you. So yeah, this cost $11.62 in total. Sold for $23.94, which was $19.99 with $3.95 postage, and made a $5 after shipping and fees. Well, $5.01 technically. So I didn't lose anything, but it's something I've sat on for ages. So if it was something that was actually depreciating in value, for instance, in the time that I had them, I'd have probably ended up losing money on those for the amount of time that they've been here and the fact that there was only £5 in them. So yeah, not something I would pick up again, those, definitely. Unless they were next to nothing. Another Heartbeat DVD Season 9 box set cost 50p, sold for $14.99, made $9.82. 26th of May, Levi's short sleeve shirt. It was either part one of this video or the previous sales roundup, I can't remember, but I definitely sold the orange one in the space of time that I've been here on YouTube. I bought them both from the same charity shop early. This was actually a really good buy early on. One of the first clothing items I bought, to be honest with you, and I started reselling sort of, if you like, quote unquote professionally in September, so it wasn't really the time of year for short sleeve bright coloured shirts, but they definitely came into their own as soon as the weather started brightening up. Cost a $5 this one, sold for $29.99 with free postage, but I think it did go for a large letter, that one? Not sure. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, it's $29.99, free postage, made £16.17 after shipping and fees, and got positive feedback from the buyer on that one. Happy days. Next, these have been in a couple of videos. Schneider ballpoint pen refills. Actually sold this to another reseller who sells a lot of pens, I've subsequently found out. So obviously it sells a lot of vintage pens and stuff like that, high-end pens, so they want refills for their stock, I'm guessing. These cost me 50p, sold for $5.94, $3.99 plus $2.95 shipping, and make £2.30 on each one of those after shipping and fees. This again is a retail arbitrage item. I bought a bunch of these at 50p a unit, and they've been trickling out nice and steadily, making £2.30 a throw every time. So I can't complain for something that's dead easy to ship and everything. They don't take up a lot of space in the drawer. People have been buying them up quite quickly. I think I'm down to maybe my last 2 or 3 of these now, and I had a good few to start with. So yeah, these have done quite well for me. 27th of May, Motor Caddy Pro Series golf bag. I've been experimenting with golf stuff because I've been doing reasonably well with it. You might have seen in one of my previous videos, for instance, the Adidas golf jumper. I've sold a couple of other golfy type related things as well. Off the top of my head, I can't blooming think of any, but I have sold other golf stuff definitely recently. This was an impulse buy. I've never sold a golf bag before. Certainly never sold anything this big or bulky to sort of package, but it was quite easy to package in all fairness. I just bubble wrapped the life out of it and then wrapped it in possibly bin bags, just for an outer layer on it there. So, and it went through for $16.95 on Parcel Force. So it's reasonable postage, which I did charge the buyer for. Motor Caddy is a good brand to look out for. Not all of their stuff, granted, but certainly if you get anything like any factory sealed spare parts for Motor Caddy bags or carts, definitely worth picking up. There's a lot of people do use them. As the name suggests, it's a motorised golf cart, so it just takes all of the aggro out of dragging your golf bags around for you while you're having a walk, I guess. So, yeah, it's a popular brand. People do buy a lot of it, and it is quite an expensive brand new, so you can always command a reasonable price on it on the second-hand market. Nice bonus with this one was that the shoulder strap, the carrying strap, was still in its original bag inside, so that had never actually been used by the previous owner. And it also came with 2 rain covers as well, which themselves I'd seen selling for around about £15 to £20 just on their own. They weren't in the best of condition, and I did mention that in the listing, and said, look, I'm putting them in free of charge with the item. So, you know, they might be good, they might not. If they're not, throw them away. Much like I said with the Simpsons game on the other one. I'll always be dead up front about things like that, because there's no sense not being. Buyer did contact me and ask me if it still had the little screw-in pegs underneath. They have 2 little pegs that screw into the bottom of the bag, and that's what helps it locate onto the trolley. It didn't have those, but I managed to Google them, and I found a company that supplies them for £2. So I just sent the guy the link for that, and then the next thing was cha-ching, and he bought the bag. So cost me £7.50 this one. It was they actually wanted £9 for it in the charity shop that I was at. That I just bought a load of other stuff from as well. I think I just spent about £40 in that shop anyway, and for whatever reason I didn't see this when I was going in, so I saw it on the way out. They wanted about £9 for it from memory, and I literally only had £7.50 left on me. And I said, look, I've got £7.50 left on me. If you're happy to let me have it for that, I'll take it for that. If not, no hard feelings, kind of thing. And I think in line with the fact that I'd just spent a reasonable amount of money in there anyway, they said, yeah, go for it. So I got that for £7.50. Sold it for £86.94, which was £16.99 plus £16.95 postage. As I say, it went with Parcel Force 48-hour service. So total profit after shipping and fees on that one was £49.43. Yeah, really nice bag. It's got like a cooling compartment in it, a separate compartment for balls. As I say, it had it's got an umbrella sheath in it as well. It had the original shoulder strap. It had the rain covers. So it was a good package, and it was in nice condition as well. So that definitely helps. Plus, good colour for the summer, I guess. 27th of May. Connects Hyperspace Training Tower Manual. This was a surprising sale for me. I just kind of put this up on the off chance. I bought a Connects Hyperspace Training Tower all boxed from a charity shop. I wouldn't say early on in my reselling experience, but it was early-ish. And when I got it home, after sort of meticulously looking through all these 6 billion parts that it had, I found that it wasn't complete. And at the time, I didn't really know about going and sourcing spare parts for these things to make them back up or anything like that. So I decided to just split the lot, sell all of the rest of the tower, which is effectively just loose connects. So I've got that up, just advertised by weight. But this was the manual, for the build manual for the training tower, and the bags that you see there are figures that came with it, like little spacemen figures, and they'd obviously never been out of the bag. So there were 6 figures there, and the manual, and I just sort of speculatively put it up at £20 just to see if I got any interest, and it did sit for a little while. It's probably been online for a month or so, but it ultimately sold for £23.94. So I got the £19.99 plus £3.95 postage. After shipping and fees, made £14.34 on that. The whole Connects bundle that I bought, the whole incomplete training tower, owes me £6. So I've already made my money back on that, so really it's kind of 100% profit, whatever comes up on when the loose connect sells, which I think I've got on at about £40 because there's about 3 kilos of it. So yeah, that was a good one. 28th of May, the Rocket Dog pumps. I think these have definitely been in one of my haul videos when I picked them up, because I mentioned about the brand not being as popular as it once was. Or certainly not being as valuable as it once was, because a lot of it finds its way into TK Maxx and the like. These sold quite quickly when I got them listed. Cost me £6, sold for £26.94, which was £22.99 plus £3.95, and made £12.31 after shipping and fees. Had positive feedback from the buyer there as well, so happy days there. 28th again, Jellycat Maypole Horse Musical Plush. Jellycat, for those that aren't familiar, it is a child's, or specifically an infant's, young child's soft toy brand. They make a lot of comforters and blankies and things like that, but they also have quite a collector's market amongst adults, I guess. Some of them are really, really valuable. A great channel to check out if you're interested in Jellycat is a channel called the Millionaire. I used to watch quite a lot of their videos. I don't so much anymore. I don't know why. There's no specific reason why not. But one of the girls there, she's really into the Jellycats, and she always picks them up and always seems to make a killing on them because she knows which ones to go for. I, early days, picked up some random ones as I saw them, and this was one of those. This was a musical one, so it was kind of a pull string and played a lullaby. Cost $1.99, sold for $23.94, which was $19.99 plus $3.95 post, and made $14.11 after shipping and fees on that one. Yeah, like I say, some of them do sell for really crazy money. If you just search Jellycat on eBay and go into the sold listings there, sort them by highest to lowest, you'll see what I mean. Some of them are just insane money. But be careful with them because there are counterfeits out there as well. Because they're such a desirable thing, there are counterfeit Jellycats on the market, believe it or not. Oh yeah, Midsummer Murders, 28th of May. So this is another one from the big bundle of DVDs. Cost me 50p, sold for $17.94, which is $14.99 plus $2.95 post, and this is $10.81 profit after shipping and fees. Midsummer Murders is another British crime drama. It's kind of our... what would you compare it to? There isn't really an American show that I'd compare it to, in all honesty. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Essentially, it's another one of those kind of small English village, well, it's a county, in fact, Midsummer, which is loosely based on, I think, sort of Somerset, Bristol, Devon, somewhere around that sort of direction. Traditional, I think it's very much the idea of what Americans stereotypically think all British villagers look like. Cottages, flowers, that type of thing, and it's kind of, there's loads of murders go on in there, and it's quite funny as it goes along because it gets a bit self-referential towards the end, and they're sort of, you know, you'll find people asking the detectives, do you not think the murder rate's a bit high around here, and stuff like that, and they say, oh yeah, people have commented on it, and it's just because it kind of, in popular culture, it's in this country now, it's kind of, people are aware of it as being this small. It's weird that so many people die in this small village, but it's very well written. It's kind of got a bit of dark humour to it as well. The first iterations of it starred... Hey, what's his name? Nah, it's gone completely. John Nettles. The first few series of it starred as Tom Barnaby, who I think is the character from the original novels. And then later series, you got Neil Dudgeon, who took over as his brother or his cousin or something. Anyway, this isn't a lecture in Midsummer Murders, although it's rapidly turning into one. Yeah, so done the pricing on that one, so that was that. 29th of May, North Face Summit Gore-Tex jacket. North Face, amazing brand to resell. You need to kind of know a little bit about what you're looking at with them, because they've changed a lot of their ranges over the years. This is an older jacket. This is from, I think, around about 2010 from memory, when North Face were ranging things a little bit differently. So you had the Summit series, and the Summit series was at the time the kind of pinnacle of North Face's clothing. It was the stuff that was very much pitched at professional mountaineers, professional outdoors people and stuff like that. So if you ever see North Face Summit series clothing, it is definitely worth picking up because it does command good money. Off the top of my head, I can't think what their current equivalent... I think it might still be the Summit range, but they have different ranges within the Summit range now. Don't quote me on that. They're quite a complicated... the way they lay things out is quite complicated. Like, for instance, this era of jacket actually has a product code in it that you can go and search, but when you go and look at modern North Face stuff, they don't necessarily always have a product number in there, so they become quite difficult to find. This one is a Gore-Tex coat as well. A lot of the more current, and certainly some of the later North Face, they use a lot of their own material technologies. Still very good. High Vent is one of them. That's a really good waterproof, windproof and breathable technology, but it just lacks the performance of the Gore-Tex, especially this Gore-Tex, which is the XCR. Gore-Tex XCR is a lighter weight fabric than the standard Gore-Tex, so it's very, very popular amongst professional sort of outdoors people, as I said before. All that being said is the reason why I was happy to pay 18 quid for this coat. I sold it for $99.99. gave free postage, and made $62.39 after shipping and fees on that one. Excellent coat, excellent brand. I would say very much worth researching if you plan on dealing in clothes or plan on dealing in outdoor wear. Definitely research the North Face, both in terms of their products and their company. They've got a really good history as well, and being able to have a bit of a background into the company, I think enables you to sort of learn about their products more quickly, because you can kind of think, this is what they're going for, this is what this product is, and then you can kind of make those two factors meet in the middle. Anyway, I digress. 30th of May, Sony Freeview RV receiver. This was definitely in a haul video as well. I mentioned I'd seen some other resellers that I'm aware of sold these recently. I've seen other people have sold them for around about $16.99, 15 quid. A couple have sold them at 20 as well, so I went for the higher end, of course, because it's me and I have to. 19.99, cost £3, sold for $23.94, which was $19.99 plus $3.95 post. Made $14.49 after shipping and fees, and had positive feedback from the buyer on that one. Still with the 30th of May, again, an early purchase, Eragon board game. It was brand new and sealed, paid 4 quid for it. Again, why would... I must have had more money than sense when I started out reselling, because I was just buying everything and paying stupid money for it. You know, this is a film that's years old now, and I don't even know if it was necessarily that popular when it first came out, let alone still having a following today. But nevertheless, it sold. Cost me £4, sold for $13.94, which was $9.99 plus $3.95 postage. So made $3.76 after shipping and fees. But again, just another item that was nice to see the back of. 31st of May, Belkin wireless USB adapter. A lot of the USB wireless stuff, and indeed the wireless routers and hubs and things like that, they're still quite in demand. Be very careful with anything that's branded from a technology company or a communications company. So if you've got, for instance, a Virgin hub or a Sky hub or a BT hub, things like that, or if you're American, things like AT&T hubs and stuff, or whatever communications provider there is in your area, if they're providing your broadband and they're providing you with the equipment to access their broadband, quite often in the contract they still own your equipment. So even if you terminate your contract, I think they still technically own your equipment. So if you list that on eBay, it can be taken down, I believe. So do stick to brand name ones rather than ones that are associated with another company. So Belkin, Netgear, those types of brands, absolutely fine. Just be careful. I'm not saying you'll always get a strike for any that are branded with Sky or Virgin or AT&T, but be mindful of it because it's a possibility. So this one cost £2, sold for $18.94, which was $14.99 plus $3.95, and made $10.78 after shipping and fees on that one. Last item, is it? Oh no, yeah, I'll talk about that one as well in a minute. Yeah, this is the last item for a sale. This was 31st of May, vintage Subbuteo USA World Cup 94 set. Did have a couple of damaged pieces in this one, which I took close-up photos of. One of the players had been stuck back on the base really badly. They're prone to breaking legs and stuff. I put my hands in front there, and there we go. Focus. Yeah, they're prone to breaking legs and stuff like that, and snapping off the bases. So this one obviously had, and somebody glued it back together really crudely. And there was also a goalkeeper missing an arm. But other than that, the set was entirely ready to play. It had everything there that you needed. And I looked at some of the individual parts of this set, and things like the goals with the USA 94 netting on them and stuff like that, they were selling for like a tenner a pair just on their own. So this was as much worth it for somebody to buy and play as it was for somebody to buy and part out, potentially. I wasn't parting it out myself. Again, this was a buy that I made not too early on, but not too recently either. Cost me £7 from a car boot. Sold for $33.94, which is $28.99 plus $4.95, and made $17.41 after shipping and fees. Got absolute cartload of watches on this. I think it had, at the time of sale, it had about 28 watches on it. So it was a very, very popular item, but I was just waiting for somebody to pull the trigger, and they did. And they did so at the full price as well, which was great, because I think I'd sent offers out a couple of days previous on this one and nobody had bitten. So, lastly, this was a sale from the month. I forget what day it went, but this was a damaged in transit. This was sent via Collect Plus. who use I've since found out, use the Yodel network to deliver their parcels to the recipient. Yodel have a terrible reputation, and in some cases rightly so. They are one of those couriers that you always hear of: damaged, mishandled. So yeah, I would never knowingly send something with Yodel personally, but I've been using Collect Plus for quite a while not knowing. And to be fair, I've never had a problem with Collect Plus up until this item. This item is a vintage, well, not vintage really, vintage-ish, sort of late 90s, early 2000s model, I think. Sony radio CD alarm clock. So in addition to the normal radio alarm clock, you've got the CD option on there as well. You can wake yourself up with your favourite track or whatever. We sold it to an elderly lady. She was 72, and she was actually really excited about getting it because she wanted to be able to listen to CDs in the bedroom and stuff. And I said, yeah, not a problem at all. She couldn't pay the asking price for it. I think I had it up at $39.99. She wanted it for $30. I said, yeah, she was a nice lady, so I'm not going to say no. The item only cost a $5 as well, so there was room in there to sort of not be my usual monster and try and beat more money out of people. So sold for $39.95, made $21.01 after shipping and fees. However, it arrived smashed to pieces. This was in spite of an ungodly amount of bubble wrap, a double thickness cardboard box, and as I seem to recall, there might have been some polystyrene in there as well. It was very over-packaged anyway, put it that way. But the pictures that the lady sent us just showed it smashed to absolute smithereens. All of this front panel and everything was off. It was come away completely. The speaker grills were smashed as though they'd been kicked in. There was a big crack in the underneath of the casing as well that went all the way across the bottom of it. All I can think is somebody put this box down and then put a considerable amount of weight on top of it, or stood on it, or sat on it, or something like that. Because for it to have got through to how it did and damage it to the extent that it did was unbelievable. The lady was devastated. She wasn't so much devastated because of the monetary aspect of things or anything like that, or the fact that there was going to potentially be a wait to get a refund. She was just devastated because she really wanted the item, and I really felt for her. If I'd have had another item that was similar, I would have quite happily sent it to her once the refund was sorted. Again, this was one that I actually managed to get the money back from the courier, and it always pays to have the evidence on your side. The buyer was really, really helpful. We actually ended up teaching her how to take photos with her phone and upload them to eBay messages for us, so she was really happy with that aspect of things as well, and really grateful for the fact that she'd kind of learned all these new and advanced features of her phone. Although it was a bad experience in many respects because it was a damaged item and this lady was devastated, the actual end result was really nice because she still had something of a pleasant experience. Granted, she didn't get the item that she wanted, but she kind of learned all these new features on her phone, and she got her money back. We fully refunded her on the item, not a problem at all. And even after all of this, she still left positive feedback. So your customer service should apply equally to when you're trying to sell an item as to if you have a return or a complaint or an issue with an item when it's supplied. Just because you have a duty to your customer at the end of the day, and if you're not prepared to accept the duty that you have to your customer, you're going to find it very, very stressful doing reselling, because for every sale that you make where you make huge amounts of profit and it's dead easy, one is going to come along where it's going to hit your profit. It's going to take you a lot of time potentially to sort out an issue, and while you're sorting that issue out, you've got to keep your buyer on side. You've got to keep your buyer happy, keep them informed with what's going on and what progress you're making with any issues that you've got. It's really, really important. the more of a business mindset that you can get into, the more of the more of a mindset you can get into thinking, right, I am reselling as a business. This isn't just something I'm doing as a bit of fun. This isn't just something, granted it is fun, don't get me wrong, but this isn't just something that I'm doing as a bit of fun. This isn't just something that I'm doing to support myself or to earn money. This is something that I'm doing as a legitimate and serious business. And if you can get into that mindset and actually think, okay, how would... One thing that I learned in the motor trade, this was from a dealer principal at a Ford dealership, and I'd always heard, as I think many of us have heard, treat people as you want to be treated yourself. That's all very well and good if you like yourself. A lot of people don't, and I'm not getting into the kind of, you know, all of the sort of mental health debate or anything like that. That's not my place and not what I'm here to talk about at all. But there are people out there that genuinely don't like themselves, and to say to them, treat others how you would expect to be treated yourself, well, they're not necessarily going to want to be treated particularly nicely themselves. So the way it was put to me, and it didn't really need to be put this way, because at that time I was fairly experienced in the retail and retail management and stuff. I'd been doing it for a while, but I think it was just one of those lines that this dealer principal instilled into his team, and it's kind of stuck with me. And he always said, treat people how you would want your mum to be treated. And I think that is so much more... I think that is actually a lot more kind of significant than saying treat people how you would want to be treated yourself. Because, yeah, I'm sure there are exceptions out there of people who've not got great experiences of their mothers or whatever, and again, not my position to talk about these sort of things. But for the majority of people out there, I would honestly say none of us would want our mums to be treated badly or handled badly in a kind of retail or customer service situation. So that's kind of my little takeaway tip from that one, is treat people how you would want your mum to be treated. And that really did apply to this lady, again, because of the sort of generational thing. My mum's not that old. I'm you know, please don't... Mum, if you watch this video, I'm not trying to say you're 72. Don't beat me. Sorry, that just harks back to a story from my childhood, which will be something from another time, probably. My mum didn't used to beat me or anything like that, just to clarify, but I did throw myself on a car park floor once and shout, please don't beat me, Mum, when I was a young kid. Yeah, we'll go into that another day. But yeah, keep on top of your customer service, and you can still get positive feedback even if the transaction goes belly up. That's what I'm getting at mostly with all of that waffle that you've just heard there. Now, I think, is that everything? Yeah, that's all of the items. So on to the totals. Total cost of stock for sales in May 2019. Now, that's both parts of this video. So it's everything that you've just seen plus everything that's in May part 1. Total cost of all of the items sold was $328.39. Total value of the sales for May was £2,196.15, and the total profit on those sales was £1,268.63. So I actually took in 2,196.15 in May. That's what hit the PayPal account, and then obviously fees, etc., came off that. And the costs of the items just deducted for accounting purposes, really, because it is still cash in the bank at the end of the day. We get the cost of the item back. We just don't factor that into the profit figure. So £1,268.63 profit. That is kind of in line with... In fact, that's more than a minimum wage job. So that's a reasonable profit to be making in a month, I feel. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And if you're making that kind of money or more, you should be too. You should be happy whatever money you're making, guys. If you're actually taking the step to go out there and start being a reseller, and start sort of, you know, taking control of your own earning and your own life in that sense, you should be proud of every single penny that you make. If you've done it on your own terms and off your own back, my God, more power to you, because I've spent a lot of years working for other people, and I've had some great experiences working for other people, as I'm sure a lot of you have too. But ultimately, when you are working for other people, all you're doing is selling them your time. You know, you're selling your time to other people to make them a considerable amount more money than you will ever see. So, you know, if like take the example of me as somebody working in sales, whether it's in a retail environment or in the jewelry trade or in the car sales environment that I've been in. I have sold a considerable amount of stuff over the years in a professional capacity working for other people. And I don't know what sort of percentage of the money that I've made for other people has trickled back down to me, but it's not a lot, you know? Put it this way, if I've sold, say, an 80 grand car for somebody at a car dealership, and I was on a basic wage of 400 quid a week plus commission, yeah, I'm seeing a fraction, you know, and anybody who works for somebody else is seeing a fraction of the true profit of the business. And that is, yeah, in fairness, that's how big companies work. I'm not ignorant to that. But the fact that when you start to be a reseller or you start to do anything for yourself, you're stepping away from that whole thing of making money for other people and being beholden to other people all the time. The independence and the sense of fulfillment and achievement for every single penny you make as a reseller, or anything that you do on a self-employed basis, be proud of it. And like I say, be proud of every single penny you make. To a certain extent, be proud of every single penny you lose as well, because if you're treating every losing moment as a learning experience, it's not really a losing moment. Yeah, it might be a losing moment financially, but it's not a losing moment in the long run. So that's that little weird aside lecture out of the way. Yeah, that's the profit. You've seen that. Let's just go on to the promoted listings performance. Got 2 campaigns running at the moment. Just purely at different percentage rates across them, just to see what performs better than others. Over the month of May, we've had 23 sales through advertising, with total fees of £14.61, which has generated £1,064.29 of sales. That, without looking at other months and just kind of trying to think about it off the top of my head, that actually seems not as great as some of the previous months that I've had. It's still pretty good. I've still only spent £14.61 for 1,000 quid's worth of sales, or over 1,000 quid's worth of sales, but I've had better months. I'm sure I've had months where it's been around about the 12 quid to maybe £1,500 in sales type ratio. I'm still happy with it, and I would still absolutely encourage anyone to be promoting your listings. If you've got that option, definitely go for it. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't. But yeah, 14.61 for 1,000 quid worth of sales, I'm quite happy with. So, sorry this has been a really long video. I know some of you seem to quite like the really long videos. I imagine some of you don't, looking at the amount of watch time I've got on some of the videos. I'm sorry guys, this is how I am. I like to give you as much information as I can, and hopefully not bore you to sleep too much. Maybe I do that. Let me know in the comments if I do. I'll do my best for you. Yeah, there's going to be some more videos coming up, definitely. I've bought so much stuff just lately. I can't put a haul video together out of everything that I've bought. There's loads out there, so you're just going to have to bear with me a little bit, guys, while I decide what my next videos are going to be. I've had a really good suggestion from a viewer about following items from purchase all the way to sort of sale and postage. So I'm going to look at doing something like that, actually, because that's something that kind of appeals to me. You'll get to see, you know, you'll get to see me buy the item and what I pay for it. You'll get to see me do all the prep for the item. What is going on with my camera? It's having a mad one. You'll get to see all the prep and everything that I do for the item. It might have been having a mad one all the way through this video, guys, and I've just not noticed it until now. So if that's the case, I'm really sorry. Yeah, you'll get to see me buy an item, prep an item for sale, photograph it, list it, do all the gear, and then finally post it, and you get to see sort of every step of the process. And that's something I'm quite interested in doing, actually. As I say, a viewer mentioned that one in the comments to my previous video. So thank you so much for that input, and thank you for all of you that have left input and feedback on the channel on what you'd like to see in videos. I do absolutely take it all on board. It's still very much early days for me with YouTube, and at the moment eBay's taking off quite well, so the time the ratio of time that I can apply to these things is kind of a bit skewed in favor of eBay at the moment. So I am going to try and get more content out on YouTube, and I am certainly going to take on board a lot of your suggestions and a lot of your input there as well. Certainly in terms of producing future videos. So bear with me, guys. I will do as much as I can for you, but your support means the world to me. Your likes, your comments, your subscribes, your shares, everything that you do in terms of interacting with my videos, I love it, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. It really is. It's mind-blowing, really. As I've said before in previous videos, I never thought I would get to this point at all with YouTube, let alone in the space of time that I have. So thank you all so much for checking out my videos. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like. If you didn't enjoy the video, feel free to leave a dislike, but please don't just thumb and run. Do give me some feedback in the comments. You know, if you like what I'm doing and you want me to do more of it, I will do. If you don't like what I'm doing and you think there's something I could change, I'm always open to constructive criticism. You know, not a problem at all. I'm quite thick-skinned. I've been around the block a bit. So constructive criticism is not a problem. Just make sure it is constructive, because you've seen how much I can talk. I can type a lot more. So I'm not afraid of getting into it with people sometimes in the comments if I have to. Should I be saying that on my own channel? Probably not. Anyway, yeah, I think that's everything for today, guys. So do leave a like, subscribe if you haven't done already, and do give the bell a little tickle so you get notified when I upload another video. Thanks a lot for your time. I do sincerely hope you all have a great week, whatever you're doing, whether you're reselling or not. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon, guys. Take care. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Bye-bye.